8,
You're watching
7,
Experience Comic Culture and Sales.
5,
Streaming live daily to
4,
Facebook, YouTube,
3,
Twitch, and Twitter.
2, 1.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the new year. Normally, I start the show with a joke, but because we have a large viewership in Montana, I thought it would be good to pass on this message. This comes from the Montana Department of Fish and Game. They, in light of recent and rising frequency of human and grizzly bear conflict, they're advising hikers, hunters, and fishermen to take extra precaution and keep alert for bears while in the field. The actual message reads, "We advise that outdoorsmen wear noisy little bells on their clothing so as not to startle bears that are not expecting them. We also advise outdoorsmen to carry pepper spray with them in case of an encounter with a bear. It is also a good idea to watch out for fresh signs of bear activity. Outdoorsmen should be able to recognize the difference between black bear and grizzly bear poop. Black bear poop is smaller and contains lots of berries and squirrel fur. Grizzly bear poops has a tendency to have little noisy bells in it and smells like pepper." Stay tuned for the Dan Wickline Show. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Dan Wickline Show, the first new show of 2024. I hope you all had a great holiday season, or at least a safe holiday season. The holidays can be very depressing for some, so sometimes just getting through the holidays safely is the best you can hope for. And if that is your case, then I am glad you're with us. And hope to bring you a little smile today or at some point during the show. All right. What we're doing today, we're going to do the news, and then we're going to talk about some of the best and the worst of 2023. This is going to be a very subjective list. You may not agree with it, but it does say the Dan Wickline Show, so I get to say what I think. There are going to be some things on the list that may surprise you. There's going to be some things on the list, or that aren't on the list, that may surprise you, partly because there are some things that I haven't seen. I have not seen the Marvels. I have not seen Oppenheimer. I have not seen Barbie. So it would be unfair of me to place them on either the best of or worst of list. So again, the list is subjective. As for my holidays, I had big plans for the holidays. Was going to cook the Christmas dinner, had everything bought. Lisa was going to come down and spend like a week or so starting from Christmas through New Year's. It was all great. And I've still been dealing on and off with the infections in my leg. And this time they decided to get into the muscles in my left foot and has made it almost impossible for me to walk. You will notice the addition of my walking stick. I have been hobbling around for almost 3 weeks now. What this meant was that Christmas Day came, and the best I could do was to hobble down the hallway and sit on a bar stool just outside the kitchen while the rest of my family cooked. And this became a very odd event because I became a conductor. I became Bradley Cooper in Maestro. I sat there and assigned each member of my family all the way down to 11 years old, up into the 40s and 50s. One part of the dinner, talked them through it using my recipes and the materials I had bought. Not a single person complained. They all went about their work eagerly, successfully, and it turned out to be one of the best dinners we've had. I am thankful to everybody who pitched in, from my youngest niece, Michaela, who made the glazed carrots, my niece Nicole, who made the candy jams, her husband Scott, who baked the ham, and even passed up caramelizing it with a torch because he felt it was already good. Nephew Michael, who made the potatoes, his boyfriend George, who made the Brussels sprouts, and Lisa, who made the broccoli casserole. Dinner turned out spectacular, and while it was not how I had wished, it was an awesome Christmas. So I hope you all had an awesome Christmas as well. All right, we are going to dive into the news and get you guys caught up. There's been a few things going on. The holiday break is usually slow, but one of the news stories is after the release of Batman Returns, there were some very serious discussions about a Catwoman spin-off movie. But the writer and the director had very different ideas on where to take the story. So while speaking at a screening of Batman Returns at the Egyptian Theater on December 22nd, screenwriter Daniel Waters talked about the proposed spinoff and how Tim Burton wanted the film to be an intimate drama shot in black and white as an homage to Jacques Tourneu's horror film Cat People from 1942. That would have been a very strange film. Waters had a more satirical take with moving Selina Kyle to Los Angeles, where she would take on 3 corrupt superheroes. Now, Waters explained he wanted to do a $18 million movie where she would take over 3 corrupt superheroes. He explained that Burton wanted to do an $18 million black and white movie like the original Cat People of Selina just low-key living in a small town. And I wanted to make a Batman movie where the metaphor was about Batman. So I had her move to Los Angeles version of Gotham City, and it's run by 3 a-holes superheroes. It was the boys before the boys. But he got exhausted reading my script. The writer also admitted they didn't really understand the comic book thing, nor did they do any research into source material. He had one mandate on the script, that was to please Tim Burton. Waters admitted during the screening that he just recently learned that DC stood for Detective Comics. Yep, the 90s. All right, moving on. We are about a year removed from the horrific snowplow incident that Jeremy Renner had. And he's now talking about returning to work this week. The Hawkeye store had been recovering from the incident last year, the near fatal incident, having put most of his acting work aside while focusing on his health. Now, he did write and record a new album and did some voice acting in that time, but he's going to go back before the cameras for the first time as mayor of Kingtowns begins filming its 3rd season this week. The plan was always for production to begin after the New Year's once the actors' strike concluded. But co-star Emma Laird confirmed the timing when she posted an image of the two together with the text, "It's happening, back with my favorite guy next week." Renner then reshared the post on his own Instagram. The 2nd season of Mayor of Kingstown premiered just 2 weeks after Renner's accident last year. All right, fans of the season 2 of Jack Reacher, that's currently airing on Amazon Prime, well, it's currently sitting at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is pretty fantastic. Now, the series is finding success following 2 live-action films that originally starred Tom Cruise, but now Alan Ritchson is playing the role, created a series of novels by Lee Childs. Now, Richmond is being applauded for bringing the physicality to the character that fans are used to from the novels, but the series itself has made some major changes in how the overall philosophy of the franchise. Now, rarely does Childs reuse a character other than Reacher. Normally, each story has a unique supporting cast and villains. Only on the rarest occasions is a previously story mentioned. This allows a reader to pick up a novel in the series and dive right in, any novel. But in the first season, the writers worked in a character named Frances Neely, played by Maria Sten, who is part of Reacher's old Special Investigations Unit in the Army. Now, the character does not appear in Killing Floor, which is the novel that was used for the first season and that they adapted for it. But she does appear in Bad Luck and Trouble, which is the 11th novel and was being used for season 2. So they kind of pre-set up having her come back. This has moved Neely into almost a co-starring role in the series. They have also referenced the events of season 1, which took place in Margrave, Georgia, a handful of times in the new season, and going as far as having a character from the first season cameo in the 4th episode, besides Neely. Now, it's unclear why Nick Santora, the creator of the series, felt it was necessary to tie the 2 seasons together as much as they have, but this might be a clue to the novel that the 3rd season will adapt. The 3rd season's already been approved. Now, if they do keep the idea of keeping Neely around, she appears in a handful of other novels, Without Fail, The Affair, and Night School. Though Without Fail is the only one set after Reachers leaves the Army, which is the current timeline in the series. The Affair and Night School basically featured Neely in flashbacks or are set during his time in the Army. So Without Fail may be the one they end up doing, but we'll have to see. So give me 1 second, folks. Let me take a drink. All right. You guys know who Stephen Moffat is? He's the guy that gave us Benedict Cumberbatch as Sherlock Holmes, James Nesbitt as Dr. Jekyll, and he took over for Russell T. Davies on Doctor Who, basically giving us Matt Smith as the Doctor. He created the Weeping Angels. He created the Silence. He also did the, was it the Doctor in the Fireplace episode? So the guy's got serious credentials. Now, he has come out and said he thinks that the UK needs its own version of the West Wing, and he's prepared to write it if necessary. He told the British Times that he thinks a serious look at British politics is missing from the country's drama, and he thinks it has affected how real-life politicians behave. He said, "We've got a problem. We think that being cynical is sophisticated, but that's how an adolescent thinks. Our cynicism about politics has resulted in a cynical politician. If you tell a child they're bad, they become bad. If you tell politicians they're a bunch of egotistical maniacs, then where is the value of them trying to be anything else?" Now, Moffat appears to be moving from genre sci-fi fare, which he's known for, into more politically charged topics, including with his next project, a TV drama that looks at cancel culture. The series is called Douglas is Canceled, and it looks at a TV host who is subjected to public wrath after making a joke about a wedding. Now, Moffat addressed the topic of the series, saying, "I think there's a sense of nervousness about cancellation. I don't know how much we'd continue to fear cancellation if anyone was bombing us. If someone is capable of being canceled, they're a good person. You can't cancel Hitler or the Yorkshire Ripper. Only someone who cares about their reputation and has a conscience. This seems to parallel his thoughts on politicians. So, hey, Philip, again, it's good to see you. All right, continuing with the news. Big Marvel news. 2 Marvel stories. One is Steven Yeun is leaving Marvel Studios' Thunderbolts picture. Now, it was, I think, only recently officially announced that he was part of the series or part of the movie. His casting wasn't set in stone, but everybody assumed he was playing the Sentry. Well, due to scheduling issues after production was pushed on the film because of the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes, so reports of Yeun's involvement started last year, though the studio never officially confirmed. Yeun was expected to star opposite Florence Pugh, David Harbour, Sebastian Stan, and Wyatt Russell, who had been announced as a main ensemble at D23 in 2022. Marvel pushed production a month after the WGA strike began, and with SAG-AFTRA strike going until November, production was moved to 2024, ultimately leading to Yeun leaving the project due to scheduling. Now, Jake Schreier is set to direct, and Black Widow scribe Eric Pearson is penning the script, with Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige producing. Now, not much is known about the plot, but the comics revolve around a group of villains who are sent on a mission commissioned by the government. So it's kind of Marvel's Suicide Squad, but it's a little deeper than that. It's set to release in 2025. And then finally, the last bit of news may actually answer a question we've been asking for a long time. Are the Netflix series canon? Well, if you were on YouTube or different social media, you might have seen a new trailer for the upcoming Echo series get dropped a couple hours ago. In this, Marvel sets it up by showing footage from both Hawkeye and the Netflix Daredevil series before showing footage of Echo, showing that they're all related. It shows early footage of young Wilson Fisk, and then Vincent D'Onofrio, and then Charlie Cox, and then it moves into seeing some stuff from Echo and Fisk and Hawkeye, and then footage from the upcoming Echo series, which drops next week. Now, the executive producer of the series, Brad Winderbaum, he talked about how they treated the Daredevil series as if it were canon, and how he considers it part of the sacred timeline. But this is the first time that Marvel is actually showing footage from Daredevil as part of the advertising for Echo. So is this them saying it's canon? It pretty much feels like it. I mean, I don't know how much closer you can get without it being canon. So we're just going to take it at that. So that is the news. When we come back, we are going to talk the best and worst of 2023. If I could do the best and worst of 2025, that'd be pretty amazing. We'll be right back.
Did you know that every experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out, twitch.tv/the_EXP. Or just scan that QR code.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dan Wickline Show here on The Experience. And remember to stick around. We've got Miss Jen coming up with What's in the Box. Then we have, I think they're changing the name of the show, is what I'm being told, that the Comic Book Beardies or the Geek Chat will be up talking about a bunch of new comics. Also talking about What If. And then tonight, Mog and Mel have some great guests for live art. So you want to stick around for all that. Remember, hit the like and subscribe buttons, hit the thumbs up. That all helps me out. Remember, tell your friends about the network. Try to get some more people in here. All right, so let me do my preemptive thing again. I have not seen everything. There are stuff that I have not had a chance to watch. There are shows, there are movies, and so I'm not going to rate something as bad just because people claimed it was bad, or good just because people said it was good. So things like the new Indiana Jones movie, Barbie, Oppenheimer. I have not seen the Marvels. I have not seen those things. So I can't really put them on a best and worst of list, to be fair. But I can go through the things I have watched and tell you the best and worst of. Yeah, it is hard to watch everything. I mean, there's just so much stuff going on. When I sat down to make this list, I really had a hard time remembering everything. So, and don't think that, there's going to be filled with Marvel and DC. And I mean, there's some of Marvel and DC, but it's not what you think. So, all right, let's kick this off. Do you think we should do a good and a bad, or do you think we should do all the good, all the bad TV, and then all the good, all the bad movies? I think we should go back and forth. And these are not necessarily in a particular order, but these are the 5 things to me that were the best TV shows or TV things, and the 5 worst. And I'm going to start with the 5 best Doctor the Doctor Who specials, the 360th anniversary special and the Christmas special. What these did was they brought back a lot of the fun that had been missing from Doctor Who. I remember in 2005, and I had watched Tom Baker as Doctor Who some when I was younger, and Peter Davidson, some John Pertwee on like PBS, and I had caught the Fox movie, so I knew Doctor Who somewhat. But when the show came on, my wife at the time was a big Doctor Who fan, and I watched it with her. And Christopher Eccleston was the Doctor, and there was a moment that he helped Rose Tyler get out of a building full of automatons, and he introduced himself, and his line was, "I'm the Doctor, run like hell." And besides that being what he should introduce himself as every time, I was hooked at that point. And that was the writing of Russell T Davies and just the fun that Doctor Who had. That came back with these series. Now, first it was David Tennant. David Tennant was always fun. He's working from Russell T Davies scripts. He has Donald Noble back. We get Wilfred, even though he's passed away. We get a moment to say goodbye to that actor. It is just, those episodes were great. But the way they introduced both Ncuti Gatwa and then his new companion, Ruby Sunday, was so much fun and really got my attention that I am looking forward to the new Doctor. And I watched all of David Tennant, all of Christopher Eccleston, all of Matt Smith, and started to wane with Peter Capaldi, who I liked. And then I watched a couple episodes with Jodie Whittaker, but just couldn't get into it. Because at that point, it wasn't feeling like the Doctor anymore. But now, it's starting to feel like the Doctor again. So, to me, those specials did exactly what they were supposed to do. And to me, they were some of the best TV shows of 2023. In the worst, some of the worst stuff, and I hate to say this because there were parts of the series I liked, but it just didn't live up to the hype or the potential it should have been. And that would have been Secret Invasion. I hate doing it because there were things about the series I liked, but I feel that in the end, it fell flat. There wasn't enough excitement. There wasn't enough stakes. And it ended with a character so powerful, yet it feels like we're probably never going to see her again. It just seemed wrong to me. So, I mean, the story was okay, but it was weird seeing Nick Fury played that way. There's so many questions left unanswered about Don Cheadle and, how long Rhodey had been a Skrull, everything like that. That it just didn't end up working for me. So, I hate putting a Marvel show on this list, but yeah, it's on the list. So, all right, jumping back to the best of, Only Murders in the Building is probably going to make the best list as long as they're putting out episodes. The comedic timing of Martin Short and Steve Martin and Selena Gomez is so beautiful. It is so good, the way they work off of each other, the way they can take a subject matter like a murder mystery and still inject the humor is so well done. The writing is brilliant. The performances are brilliant. And then every season, they bring in bigger and bigger stars, and every one of them works. It absolutely blows my mind. This season, they added Paul Rudd and Meryl Streep, and you would think they would just get run over. And instead, they fit right in as characters. I mean, they've brought in other big names like Amy Schumer and Sting, but they were brought in as themselves, or Nathan Lane, who kind of fits in with Short and Steve Martin. But, we got some bigger names, some serious acting chops, and they fit right in. So I think it is literally one of the best shows on TV. And if you're not watching it, you should be. Okay. Let's move back to the worst of. And this was one that just disappointed me so much because it was coming from a guy, I can't think of his name right now, Ryan. He did Glass Onion and Knives Out. Absolutely love those movies. Both of them. So when he said, Ryan Johnson, and when he said, oh, I'm going to do this TV series, Poker Face, it's got Natasha Johnson, I thought, great, this is going to be awesome. And the first episode really is good. And then the second episode is boring. And it becomes this just police procedural type show for the next few episodes. And there's nothing special about it anymore. You know, it was really good in the beginning. And like I said, I went in with, thinking Ryan Johnson, this is going to be great with what he did with Knives Out and Glass Onion. This is going to be fantastic. And it just was boring. I don't know a better way to say it. You know, I wanted to like it. It had such a 70s vibe to it. But in the end, after the first episode, it just kind of went, eh. She's just going to go small town to small town, helping out people. And it's not good. All right. Let's get back to the good side. And this one, I think a lot of people had this on their list. It surprised me because I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. And that's The Night Agent. That's a series on Netflix that is your Jack Ryan type series. This guy who, and I should have put Jack Ryan in the final season of Jack Ryan in this as well, but The Night Agent edged it out. It's about a guy who has an interesting history. It's a questionable history. He's assigned as a night agent inside the White House for secret agents to call in as kind of a last resort. And he gets pulled into this mystery, and he gets pulled into the field, and he finds out that there's a lot of people working against him. It's a good old-fashioned spy thriller in the same vein as Night of the Condor, or Three of the Days of the Condor, the old Robert Redford ones from the 70s. And these are a lot of no-name actors. There's a couple people you'll recognize, but overall, it's a lot of new people, new actors, and it pulls off a really good, interesting series. And this is one of two new series from Netflix. They also did the Citadel series, and the Citadel is James Bond. It's, super spy and all this stuff. And it was a fun series, but it wasn't a great series. The Night Agent is a really good series. It deserves to be on the best list. And there's already talk of a season 2, so I look forward to seeing that when it comes out. All right, I talked about this next series a little bit last week, and that was Bodies. And a lot of people put Bodies in the best of series, and I put it in the worst of series. And I did it because I think they took a premise that could have been a really strong movie, and they made it an 8-episode series. And it could have been a good 4 hours, but it didn't need to be 8 hours. And they put a lot of drama and a lot of BS in it that didn't need to be there. The premise itself was clever. It really just clicked on all levels when you finally got to the end. Most things pieced together well. There's a couple flaws in the logic, but it's a clever premise of time travel-ish. That and even the pitch, the same body is discovered at 4 different periods in the same place, in the same condition, in 4 different periods of time. And each one starts a murder investigation. How do they all connect? Great concept. But again, I think they went with what should have been maybe a 4-hour special at the most, and try to make 8 hours of it. And just, it got too deep in the weeds. So, all right, back to our good or best of list. And I'm going to put Good Omens Season 2. Now, this one surprised me because I really went into it worrying about it, thinking Good Omens Season 1 was awesome, and you had these great actors, and you had this great story that Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman had put together, and I really thought it was going to be strong. And then that the second season would be weaker because they weren't working from source material anymore. They were working from just trying to continue the series. Turns out I was wrong. It turns out that late in his life, Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman worked on putting this together as a series and did so with the idea of it being a 3-season show, and they worked out what the seasons should be. So it was written from the ideas of Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. So it's still from the source material, it's just not from a published book. And in doing so, they made a much more personalized story, but they kept the magic. They kept the interaction between those two characters. And I think it really worked out well. They did some really good stuff in the season, and they've set up a third season that could be really big. So if you're not a fan, if you have not watched the Good Omens series, I highly recommend it. Both seasons are excellent, and I think the third season is going to be just as good. All right, moving back to our worst of, and this one is going to surprise some of you, but if you know me as a writer, you know this is something that's going to irk the hell out of me, and that is Ahsoka. As much as there is to like in the series, it is not a well-written series. There's an old axiom when it comes to writing, which is show, don't tell. Show the viewer or the reader what happens. Don't have someone telling somebody else about it or telling the reader about it. Show it to them. Let them live it live. Ahsoka has so much telling that it's absolutely ridiculous. How this got past any editor, I don't know. And it relies so heavily on previous material that I just think it's a weakness. I think they really should have brought in a second writer, have Dave Filoni work with another writer, whether it's Jon Favreau or anybody else, work with a regular writer, because Filoni's background isn't as a writer, it's as a director and putting together all those animated series, and now he's moving to live action, and he's a good storyteller, but he's making mistakes and no one's there to catch him. So that's my big knock on Ahsoka. All right, the final best of TV show of 2023, this will surprise nobody, to me is Reacher. I am absolutely loving the series. There's a 6th episode of season 2 waiting for me to watch it as soon as I'm done here. And it is honestly one of the most fun shows I'm watching on TV. It's one of those that you don't have to really focus on. You know, it's just fun action TV series. He's a big force of nature. Yes, he's the best at everything he does. And the changes we talked about earlier, what they've done is they've allowed that to be questioned, though. Some of the things that he does, the way he lives his life, that's now coming into question because these people from his past are all there, making him second guess. So in a way, I think they're actually expanding on the books. But Reacher is one of my favorite series of the season. That said, my final bad series of the season, of the year, is the third season of a show that previously I absolutely loved, and that is The Witcher. Season 3 of The Witcher completely changed tones. It went from being this big fantasy epic monster hunter thing to being this political Game of Thrones style thing. And I totally understand why Henry Cavill is bailing out on the series. I would have as well. The third season is not good. It takes away all that made the series good. And now with season 4, we're not even going to have Henry Cavill. We didn't get a satisfactory ending to it. The last episode, he's basically laying down through the entire thing. It's really bad. So my 5 best series of 2023, Reacher, Good Omens, The Night Agent, Only Murders in the Building, and the Doctor Who specials. My 5 worst series of 2023, Witcher Season 3, Ahsoka, Bodies, Secret Invasion, and Poker Face. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk the best and worst films of 2023. Be right back.
Symphonic verses, Nocturne's romance. A song of romanticized darkness, dreaming dead by sleep.
Live from New York. What? Oh, sorry. Live from Cleveland? It's Friday night? It's Friday Night Live! With Nancy McCann. And Ricky. And sometimes Carlos. And featuring boxes and boxes of rare comics. Unique collectibles. Lots of smiles and conversations with new friends. Friday Night Live with Comics Unlimited. Friday night from 9 to 11 on The Experience.
Everybody, welcome back to the Dan Wickline Show here on The Experience. Remember to stick around for What's in the Box, the Geek Chat, and SketchUp, all happening tonight here on The Experience. All right, we are going to go through our best and worst, my best and worst of 2023. And again, I know a lot of you are going to have your own lists, stuff like that. This is just based on the stuff I was able to see. No Barbie, no Oppenheimer, no Indiana Jones. Yeah. All right. We're going to start off with one of people's favorites of the year, and it really was good. And that is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. They're just nailing it, just hands down. They are doing such a good job with the character of Miles Morales, bringing in Miguel O'Hara, giving us all the different versions of Spider-Man, bringing back Peter B. Parker, Gwen Stacy, expanding on their stories. And I'm at a point now where I'm really excited to see the third one, what it's going to be. Now, I wouldn't put this as my favorite movie of 2023, but it is definitely up there. So, again, and I can't wait for the next one. So we're going to go through these a little faster than the TV ones because we don't have as much time. All right, so this one was not going to surprise anybody. One of the worst movies of 2023 has got to be The Flash. It was a mess. There were babies flying through the air. There was bad jokes and way too much Ezra Miller. They just made Michael Keaton say every meme line possible. And then even if you forgave all of that, the scene with all the time travel and putting the different universes and stuff was so poorly done that it was almost embarrassing. So did not like The Flash, was not happy with it at all. And it definitely makes one of the worst of 2023. Going back to best of, I'm going to put Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I think James Gunn came back and he nailed it. He gave us a beautiful ending to his trilogy. And we all realized that this was Rocket's story all along. It was well filmed. It was well acted. It just really clicked on all levels. I know some people are not happy with the introduction of Adam Warlock as he was, but I think that's kind of a clear slate that because he was only born like a day or two before that, he could be trained, he could be turned into whatever kind of character you want him to be. So I like the group that they had at the end for Guardians. I like that Peter Quill went home. I like that Mantis went off to find her own thing, that Drax is being a father again. It really felt like a good ending for everybody, that Drax and Nebula found their family. You know, I liked it. I liked it a lot. All right. Going back to the worst side, I've got to put Shazam! Fury of the Gods. And this wasn't a horrible movie, but my biggest problem with it is the kid playing Billy Batson acted more mature than Zachary Levi did as Shazam. And I hate that. And I'm not a big Shazam character fan in the first place, or Captain Marvel fan. So this was not in my wheelhouse anyway, but I did enjoy the first movie. I thought it was a solid movie. But when the kid grows up and the character and the hero doesn't, it just seemed so bad. And it seemed like they were just really trying to beat a dead horse on this one. And I don't know why they didn't just go with Mr. Mind or one of the other Captain Marvel villains, and they had to come up with this new set of villains. It just didn't make sense, you know? And there's not going to be a third one to finally pay off all those things. So to me, it was a waste. So, all right, back to the best of. And this was a surprise one to me. And that's Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. I didn't realize just how much I was going to enjoy this movie. The humor to me really worked. the little guest appearances, the cameos. Hugh Grant is the bad guy-ish. It really felt, I mean, if you were a D&D fan or play D&D, this felt like an actual adventure. They really got it. And it didn't feel like they were trying to, kind of whitewash it for a general audience. They made a Dungeons and Dragons movie. And sure, there was some silliness and stuff like that. But I really liked it. I did. I really liked it. So Preston says, somebody liked Honor Among Thieves? Color me shocked. Did you not like it, Preston? Or are you being sarcastic? I thought it was a really fun movie. All right, going back to the bad side. I'm going to have to say Cocaine Bear. Because I think the marketing was having more fun with the idea of Cocaine Bear than the movie actually was. I think the movie was just a snore fest. It really wasn't good. I think the concept of Cocaine Bear and the marketing were great, but the movie itself was just no good. Wait till Meth Gator from Asylum or something, yeah. Okay, he was being sarcastic. Cool. Yeah, I'm still hoping for a second D&D movie with that same cast or expand it, but at least from the same writers would work. So Cocaine Bear to me just, it was all hype and nothing there, All right, let's go back to the best films. And this won't surprise you guys because I kind of talked about it, but Glass Onion. Now, what I loved about Knives Out was it was Rian Johnson doing his subverting expectations about an Agatha Christie murder mystery. He basically wrote an Agatha Christie murder mystery and then shifted things around a lot. Added humor, added a despicable family. I thought it was great. Now, if you went into Glass Onion expecting the same thing, you got to remember it's Rian Johnson and he likes to subvert expectations. So he gave us more expectations, subverting his own expectations. I thought it was a lot of fun. There was some great characters in it. I still think Daniel Craig is an amazing Benoit Blanc. I love that we meet his husband or his boyfriend, and it's Hugh Grant. So we've seen Hugh Grant showing up a lot in the best of, and it really was just a fun movie. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. I can't wait to see what the third one is, because that's probably going to be like more of a classic murder mystery again. Okay. You guys all know I didn't like this one. So Rebel Moon. Rebel Moon is basically every movie you've seen before chopped up and put together like a Frankenstein monster. It is a patchwork film of scenes from other movies without really giving us any reason to care about any characters or about the universe that it's in. And it's just not a good movie. And the fact that there's going to be a 3 or 4 hour director's cut coming out and a second movie just is horrible. It is not a good movie. So, and I know some people out there like it, but I'm not one of them. Okay. 2 left. 1 good, 1 bad. Dan, what are your thoughts on the anime Akira, and what scenes did you like most? I loved Akira when it came out. It's been a long time since I've seen it, so I would have to go back and rewatch it, and that would be a topic for another show. Let me go back and rewatch it, Slip, so I can actually give you a better answer on that. But I did like the Akira animated film when it came out. All right, we got a few minutes left, so we're going to go through these pretty quickly. My last best film of 2023, A Haunting in Venice. I love Agatha Christie movies. I love Kenneth Branagh as Hercule Poirot. This was the biggest departure from the source material they've done. So it has flaws in it, but it's still a really entertaining movie. It came out of nowhere because it kind of dropped off my radar. I knew they were going to do a third film, but it was going to be something different, and it all changed. And then suddenly it came out, and I was happy as can be that it came out, and I absolutely loved it. Michelle Yeoh was in it. Tina Fey as one of the recurring characters from the Christie novels. It's just another great Kenneth Branagh directed and acted film, and it is on my top of list. And finally, what will probably go down as my worst movie of 2023. And yes, this is on a list with Rebel Moon, Cocaine Bear, and The Flash. But the movie that I liked the absolute least, 65. The Adam Driver dinosaur movie that I swear within 20 minutes I was rooting for the dinosaurs. Absolutely hated the movie. Lisa wanted to watch it, and she's the type that will hate watch bad movies, that she wants to watch to the end and see if they get better. And she's watched some really bad TV shows that I can't watch, but she got me to stay on 65, and it never got better. It is honestly one of the worst movies of the year. I don't know why Adam Driver signed up for it. It must have been a huge paycheck. And since there's only those two actors in the movie, he better have gotten paid really well. So, all right, guys, that's the best and worst of television and film for 2023. I will see you guys next week. I will do the news on Tuesdays again, and then another live show on Thursday. So I will be back for all of that. I hope you guys had a great holiday. Stick around for What's in the Box, the Comic Book Beardies, or the Geek Chat, whatever they're calling themselves now. And of course, Sketch Up, Mog, and Mel and their guests. Have a great night, a great weekend, and I will see you soon. Good night, everybody.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.